Hey guys, Benjamin Albright, NFL Underground. I want to talk to you today about the Phantom Football Forum. Designed to give you greater access to me. You get the latest intel, insider information, rumors, news, notes, injury information, Vegas lines, fantasy football, power rankings. Watch football games live with me. Phantom Football Forum. Only $1 for your first month if you sign up today. Facebook.com/WatchPhantom. The link right here. Come join us today.
Hey everybody, welcome to Noon O'Clock. I'm TJ Carpenter. Hope everybody is having a wonderful July 3rd. Is it a Tuesday? I don't know. I'm trying to keep up with everything. It is one of the it's one of the what you call it. It's a holiday. It's a holiday week. Summer, I don't really know how to put this, but summer just kind of puts everybody in this sports malaise. So hopefully here on Phantom, we will be keeping you entertained and interested all throughout the summer. I know the Rockies won't, so we'll get to them here in just a second. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the Nuggets and the Boogie Cousins deal. I can't believe no one was in on Boogie. That's insane to me that no one gave him an offer. And so the Warriors of all teams get Boogie Cousins for like $6 million next season. It's absolutely ridiculous. But we'll get to that here in a second. First and foremost, agent, as you can see there, you can go online, tjsagent.com, to find out more information about Brent. Brent was absolutely phenomenal. In fact, my wife and I were just talking with Brent the other day about how we still have a lot of stuff, a lot of work to do. We have an older house that he helped us buy. Brent doesn't just stop after he helps you buy a house. Brent also helps you make sure that you get all of the specialists that you need along with your house. He's got a team full of professionals that help you paint your house, re-side your house, get new windows for your house, lawn care, insect repellent, those kinds of things. Anything that you need, Brent's got an answer for, and that's what comes with years and years of experience in the field. So really excited to be working with Brent, and I know that Brent is going to work right by you guys as well. So give Brent a call, 720-560-5855. Go to tjsagent.com, which will take you to his Facebook page. Also wanted to let people know about Platte River Mortgage. Mortgage and investments with Platte River. They do an absolutely exceptional job of making sure that you get the best possible rate. How do they do that? They make sure that they do their job in a timely fashion, and they also make sure that there's no glitches in your credit report. If there's something they can fix, if there's something they can solve, get off of your credit, they will do that. They helped us out when we were buying our house. My wife and I were younger, so obviously we haven't learned all the tricks of the trade, so to speak, when it comes to credit reports and real estate and mortgages. Platte River Mortgage helped us out in a huge way. So contact Sean Sedita when you can. PlatteRiverMortgage.com is the website. Honesty and integrity, that's their motto, and it will be their motto for as long as they are in business. I know Sean, and Sean is absolutely fantastic at his job. So if you're looking for a house, Brent Molly Real Estate, and if you're looking for a mortgage, that is Platte River Mortgage. All right, let's talk about the Nuggets. Guys, get in on the conversation. Hey, what's up, Ryan? Brent is in on the chat. What's up, Brent? Ari's also in. Jenna, thank you guys very much for watching. Everybody, I don't know how else to put this, but the Nuggets are never going to win an NBA title. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen unless somehow Michael Porter Jr. turns into the next LeBron James, Michael Jordan, pick your superstar athlete. Unless they get lucky in the draft. So I'll put in that caveat. Unless the Nuggets get lucky in the draft, which is, never a guarantee. Never a guarantee that you're going to be able to just luck into an elite level player like that. The Bulls got lucky with Jordan because the Trailblazers were stupid enough to pick Sam Bowie. Cleveland got lucky. They were in the right place at the right time with LeBron James. And you know what? The odds that a guy turns out like Andrew Wiggins, who's just kind of an ancillary talent in this league right now as a scorer, or he turns out like LeBron James as the number 1 overall pick. It's a toss-up. No one really knows. And so if the Nuggets are going to realistically convince people that they are going to compete for a title, they're going to have to do a lot more than just say, come on, Ari, you think I'm myopic? Really? You think I'm myopic on this? Jokic is a talented player. Jokic is really, really good. I think he's got the best court vision in the league. I think he's the best passer in the league. You could definitely make that argument. I think that in the right position, they would be a good team. But it's not necessarily about the talent. It's not necessarily about who the construction of the players are. They're just, right now, when I watch the Nuggets, they don't really have any identity as a team. And that's been the case for 2 seasons now. They could have an identity. I think they're getting closer to one. But the one thing that all great teams have in common is that they have a really strong sense of what they have to do to succeed. As much as it may annoy me, the Rockets have a really strong sense of who they are. They are the ticky-tack, try to draw a foul, I absolutely hate you, James Harden team. They get under everybody's skin and you hate playing them, and they're nothing but offense and three-point shots, but they know what they are. The Golden State Warriors know who they are. Those Spurs teams knew who they were. Even the Jordan Bulls, I mean, we kind of gloss over the fact that, that Phil Jackson implemented a very effective triangle offense. Now, it's a little bit give and take there with like Jordan running the triangle offense and them having the triangle. But they had a really strong sense of what they were supposed to do. They knew, everybody knew their roles. And the number one thing with the Nuggets, to me, at least we're just talking basketball. We haven't even gotten to like the real reason why they're never going to win a title. We're just talking basketball at this point. Even as a basketball team, objectively, abstractly, they're not that talent. They're not. They don't have a strong sense of who they are or what they're supposed to do. I honestly don't know what Mike Malone's offense is supposed to be. I don't. I know that they've got talented players. I know that he likes putting talented players on the perimeter, and he likes taking three-point shots. They're not particularly good at picking their spots, but I know that they're going to take them. I know that they will shoot their way out of games every season because that's exactly what they do. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. Ryan says, I'm so over teams buying a championship. I miss the 90s. Well, yeah, look, it's not like I don't necessarily think it's buying a championship so much as it is players deciding where they want to play. And why is Denver not the place that you want to play? That's the big question. Why is it that you can get so much out of Los Angeles and New York and Chicago? Is it just the size of the city? Is that it? Because I think there are some teams that are in some smaller markets that have some pretty passionate fans. And granted, it's partly the size of the market. Partly. But it's not exclusively the size of the market. A lot of it comes down to culture. Because I look at Denver, and Denver as a city is every bit as admirable. People want it. People really want to move here. And it's kind of a problem right now. Just ask Brent and Sean. They know. They know how much people have started to move to Denver. It's one of the most desirous places to live in the country, which is why so many people from LA and New York are moving here. So the idea that it's not a desirous city to me is folly. I don't think that's the reason why somebody picks, Los Angeles over Denver. Because, if it's just the desirousness of the city, it's like Denver's a phenomenal place to live. It's not that simple. It's a lot more complicated than just simply saying that, it's a bigger market. You are going to get more attention as a Laker. I think that's partially why LeBron went there. But I'm more concerned with the fact that the Nuggets had no interest or did not want to acquire DeMarcus Cousins. And it always comes back to them as an organization for me. It always comes back to this idea that they're trying to do something that they can't really do. They want you to believe in them, and they want you to spend money on season tickets, and they want you to come to Pepsi Center, and they want you to do all these things. But what they don't tell you is that They're going to try, but like 80%. It's like a lot of half-baked ideas, right? And you've got two franchises that we're going to talk about today in today's show that are like this. The Nuggets and the Rockies are both like this. The Cousins thing is a freaking joke. I mean, it is, Ryan. It absolutely is. By the way, hop in on the conversation, guys. Get in on the conversation. We're talking Nuggets right now. We're going to talk Rockies a little bit later on in the show. Also get to some national news as well. But a lot of the stuff is surrounding NBA free agency right now because that's the only thing that's going on in sports. And if I were to give a serious evaluation of the Nuggets organization and say, this is why I don't believe they're ever going to win a title, it's because they don't understand the value of picking up DeMarcus Cousins for $5 million. They don't understand that. They are afraid that he is going to just destroy their locker room. And this is coming from the organization that currently employs the only coach that DeMarcus Cousins has ever liked. Ever. Hey, what's up, Victor? Thanks for joining the show. Look, the only coach that DeMarcus Cousins has ever liked, and the only one that you could say that he would legitimately play for, Columbia or England. I got Columbia, Victor. I think Columbia wins this one. They're more talented than the English. Also, they're more confident than the English. Ari says market size is completely inconsequential. Chicago, Dallas, New York, all below, and I have tried forever to build with free agents. Yeah, I think that that's true. But yeah, the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks have been bad for a long, long time. But everybody always talks about the Knicks as a potential place for players to wind up in the grand scheme of things. So absolutely, yeah. I mean, there is some merit to market size, but it's not like that's players can live anywhere, and there's only 12 roster spots in Los Angeles. And you've also, there's a lot to the fact that playing for and around people that you like and enjoy is really, really important. In fact, the older a player gets, and the older, I think anybody gets, the more you start to realize that you really just want to work in a place that you enjoy living and with people that you enjoy working with. And as much as the success, the championships, or whatever it is that you're chasing, that you want, you start to realize your priorities just change a little bit. And maybe that's a little bit of what LeBron has happened. But I think it's a little bit more insidious with LeBron going to LA, because I think he just garnered 40 million fans 40 million allies who are going to say he's the best player ever if he ever wins a title in Los Angeles. So if he wins as a Laker, then he's going to be considered the best player ever. And it's going to be almost exclusively because Lakers fans don't care about anything other than promoting Lakerdom. So then there's more of them. There's more Lakers fans than anything else in the NBA, by far. They're by far the largest group of identifiable people in the NBA. And I would say they're one of the largest. There are only 3 professional sports franchises you could argue have that. The Yankees, the Lakers, and then the Cowboys. Those are the only 3 franchises that have that, where it doesn't matter who joins you, the team is always going to remain bigger than you, and the team and its fans are always going to support you as being 10 times greater than you actually were. There is no reason why anyone should ever think that Derek Jeter is the best shortstop of all time. And yet, we have that conversation fairly regularly in sports circles because he was a Yankee. And the same thing's going to happen with LeBron James. But that's one of the advantages of being the Lakers. Because not only are you in a big city with all those allies, but those allies have been conditioned to believe that it's their God-given right to be great. And if you are in that situation where you've got the great franchise who gets it with intolerant fans and also you're in a major market, then that's unstoppable. That you cannot beat. That is inevitable. It will win. It absolutely will win, especially in the NBA. But the problem for the Nuggets here is that they feel like they're not in that situation and therefore they can't win. That they're somehow hamstrung by their circumstances. And I disagree with that fundamentally because I think any major sports team with the right culture can succeed. We've seen small market teams do it before, and we've seen small market teams do it consistently. In Major League Baseball, the Cardinals are not the haves. They are not in that group, and yet they consistently win and have won numerous World Series championships. You saw the Royals in 2015 do it, albeit not with a great sports culture prior to that. But the Cardinals are always good, and the Cardinals always have passionate fans. And while you may dislike those fans and how they behave on social media, there's no question that behavior, while annoying to other fan bases, also means that they will not tolerate bullshit. They will not tolerate the losing for very long. And so the Cardinals do that in baseball. The Packers do that in football. And in the NBA, it's a little bit different because of just how much control now superstars have. But we saw Cleveland be consistently competitive in those circles for a very long time. I would not consider Boston the haves necessarily. I know that a lot of people would consider Boston a major market. There's, clearly. Is Boston in the top 10 anymore? Is Boston a top 10 market? I got to check that out. If we take a look here, Boston market size. Do you guys think, is it a market? How about we do that? Top 100 television markets. Thanks. Oh, Boston's 7th. Do you consider Atlanta a major market? Okay, so the major markets are like the top 10, right? Top 10 TV markets are New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. We know those. Then it's Philadelphia, 4th. Then Dallas. So we have 3 of the 4 NFC East teams already represented, if you're wondering why the NFC East is perennially relevant. San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose. Boston is 7th, Atlanta is 8th, DC is 9th, Houston is 10th, and then Detroit is 11th. So those are TV markets. If Detroit is 11th, Detroit is not a major market. I think it used to be. At one point it was a major market. It is not a major market anymore. Phoenix, definitely not in my book. Tampa, no. Seattle that's a mid-sized market. Minneapolis, mid-sized. Miami, mid-sized. Cleveland, mid-sized. Denver, mid-sized. Orlando, mid-sized. Sacramento, mid-sized. And then you go into the smaller market teams, which are like St. Louis, Portland, Pittsburgh, Charlotte. I mean, Kansas City's way down here. San Diego's way down here. Salt Lake City. You start getting into like Milwaukee, Cincinnati. There's San Antonio at 37th. What's the smallest team of the professional sports franchise? At Green Bay, obviously. I don't even see Green Bay on here. Is that like 50? Where is Green Bay? Do they count into? They kind of get enveloped by the Milwaukee market, which is 35. Louisville doesn't have a pro team, but they're 50. Where's New Orleans? Oh, 53. That's it. New Orleans is the smallest market team in all of professional sports, I think, because New Orleans is 53, Little Rock is 56. Can you imagine a professional sports team in Little Rock, Arkansas? Could you imagine one in Tulsa, which is 61? No. So, but New Orleans, name a more passionate group of people than in New Orleans. Green Bay has an incredibly passionate following. They have them in all sports. You've got always at least one market that's not like overwhelmingly populated. That that you could argue is like in that argument. Jenna says absolutely Boston is in the top 10. Okay, all right, fine. Okay, yeah, Boston I guess is a major market. They don't feel major. Maybe it's because of all the racism. I don't know. I just don't want to acknowledge that Boston's major. That we should feel obligated to pay attention to their sports teams because more people live there. But that's how sports works. And look, Denver. My point here in all this is saying that Denver is not precluded from competing in the NBA for a title based exclusively on the city that they live in. It's not a circumstance. San Antonio obviously would be the team. I don't know why I was just beating around the bush there. Jacksonville's the smallest. Is Jacksonville smaller than San Antonio, Ari? I guess it is. Jacksonville? Man, Jacksonville's really far. Yeah, 47. No, 47. New Orleans is smaller than Jacksonville. Jacksonville's 47. New Orleans is 53. And then Green Bay is down at 70. Green Bay, Appleton, Wisconsin. The Green Bay, Appleton Market is they are sandwiched right between Wichita and Des Moines. So that's the group that they're in. They're in the Wichita Des Moines bracket. That's where Green Bay, Wisconsin is. Green Bay is considered Milwaukee. I know, yeah, but like they've got they've got two markets really. Green Bay does, but yeah, I think San Antonio is a pretty good example of a team in the NBA that doesn't need or hasn't needed to have a huge market to be successful. It can happen. You just have to know basketball really well. That's the only caveat. The only caveat is that if you're in a small market, you got to be smart or you're going to suck. You can't buy your way to championships. You can't buy your way into the title game unless you are independently wealthy for some reason. But market size is going to limit you a little bit in getting free agencies, of course. But that's not a limitation to Denver. It's a limitation to Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's a limitation maybe to New Orleans. It's maybe a limitation to San Antonio. But even then, people want to play for the talent. People want to play for pop. People want to play for the teams with passionate fans. And the thing that is hurting Denver the most is not its market size. It's the people. It's the organizations. It's the fact that the Nuggets don't really seem to always know what they're doing. It's the fact that the Rockies don't seem to understand that starting pitching matters more than bullpen pitching always. There is at no point will bullpen pitching ever be more important than starting pitching. So maybe address that first next time. I think that's maybe my advice there. Fun fact, Jacksonville, Florida is the largest city per landmass in America. Thanks, Ari. I appreciate that. Jacksonville's that big? That can't be right. That can't be right. All right, so we may have had a little bit of a camera issue here. All right, okay. Well, that's it's good to know. Good to know that we have a couple of camera problems here, but that's all right. We can get things going back here in just a moment. I will correct this camera situation we got going on here very, very quickly, I promise. All right. So what was it? What was it we were talking about? Oh yeah, market size and why that doesn't matter for Denver. I don't think that it matters for Denver because it's a desirable city, and so if that's the case, then you kind of have to acknowledge why that stuff why that stuff happens, why that stuff goes on, and I don't think that any of the reasons for saying, oh, Denver's not a city where people want to live are legitimate. So that's my take on that. Okay, sorry about this camera stuff, guys. I know that you can probably still hear me, so we will be fixing this here in un momento. All right, let's see here. Got to make sure you guys don't see my fancy schmancy green screen behind me. I got to make sure we have the beautiful city, the beautiful backdrop of Denver. This is just great. Had no idea my camera was just going to like run out of battery for no apparent reason. Alrighty. We'll go ahead and click close and then boom. All right. All right. How does this look, guys? Boom. And we're back in business. All right. Back in business. All right. Boom. There we go. Hey guys. How are you? Hope you're having a great 4th of July weekend. Is everybody working today? I thought we should have just taken the whole week off. That's what I thought. Thanks, Ari. All right. Okay. The Rockies starting pitcher have been better than their bullpen lately. Yes, except for the one that they had to send back to Albuquerque. And as we discuss that and move on to the Rockies, but once I got to finish up this thing on the Nuggets just really quickly. We've been all over the place here. You guys distract me for some reason. just really quickly on the Nuggets. The organization doesn't understand basketball, and that's why players don't want to come here. The coach isn't good enough. The ownership doesn't understand the subtle nuances of attacking free agency in 2018. They'll never attract LeBron James because they don't have the culture of success to do so. And when it comes to drafting, you've seen just how good their instincts are. As last year's draft, they traded the Rookie of the Year, and then in this year's draft, they just narrowly missed the playoffs, so had bad draft position to begin with, and then made it worse by virtue of the fact that, oh yeah, they're going to draft a guy who's not going to play until 2019. So there's a lot, and even though I kind of like the Michael Porter Jr. pick for various reasons, I still think that they got lucky more so than they actually made like a really bold move. So I just think it needs to be pointed out that that's the case. All right. Okay. So once again, want to remind everybody that we're going to be doing a ton of broadcasts here on Phantom throughout football season. We're going to be all of those. All of those games you can get free tickets for by sharing this on Thursday, Friday, and then Monday of next week. We're going to give away Rockies tickets, courtesy of Oscar Blues, to the person who shares this feed the most. So if you end up sharing it 15 times, 20 times, whoever shares it the most or shares it 20 times first, they will get Rockies tickets for the upcoming homestand against the the Diamondbacks. All right, let's see if that worked, and it does. Fantastic. All right, now we can talk about the Rockies. Yeah, that's right. Kyle Freeland showed John Gray how to pitch like a major leaguer. How's that for a hot take? How do you like them apples, John Gray fans? John Gray lacks focus, which I'm sure, as you can see or you can tell, I currently lack focus. Was literally lacking focus there for a second. No longer lacking the focus, but we're back here. And I want people to remember what exactly the Rockies did last season to create so much excitement around the organization, because they're not doing it this year. A lot of what made that team so exciting last season to watch was the fact that all these young pitchers were pitching quality starts. They were going deep into games. And as much as the sabermetric people will tell you that quality start as a statistic is irrelevant, don't listen to those people because they've got their head in a book instead of watching the game. They're looking at spreadsheet numbers. They're looking at those kinds of things in aggregate. And yes, in aggregate, you could say that quality starts is not a clear indicator of whether or not a pitcher has stuff. I mean, that's been true for John Gray. John Gray was not very good has not been very good as a starting pitcher, and he was their opening day starter. This idea that he was an ace at any point is silly. What did he do to convince people that he was an ace pitcher? Ace pitchers, people think ace pitchers are guys who can throw 100 miles an hour. No, bullpen pitchers can pitch 100 miles an hour because that's all they have to do for an inning is pitch as hard as they possibly can. That's why they can throw that fast. You know who was, I think, the epitome of ace pitcher without necessarily being an elite guy? James Shields. James Shields for the Padres and the Royals. He was and the Tampa Bay Rays. He was a perfect example of someone who he's the perfect example of somebody who could rev it up and pitch himself out of problems or out of dicey at-bats when he needed to. If he put two runners on for whatever reason or walked a guy or got a bad call at the plate, all those things happen. Every time something like that occurred, he was always there to solve the problem. He didn't pitch 100 miles an hour. He probably topped out around 95, 96, which is not, I mean, obviously he's got heat, but he wasn't like stuff guy. He was getting strikeouts. He was getting himself through innings. He pitched I think he pitched 230, 40 innings for the Royals in 2014. It was a really impressive showing by James Shields that season. And that was why, in large part, they made the World Series, because James Shields was so good, and he was a tone setter, and that's what you have to be as an ace pitcher. Somebody who's like, okay, well, I'm in a bad situation right now. I've given up 2 hits in this inning, but no runs. I need to make sure I don't give up any runs, even though I've given up hits, even though I haven't struck out a guy. Now I have to strike out a guy. I would rather John Gray go into a game and strike out 1 guy to get the final out of an inning than strike out 2 guys and give up a home run. I would rather him go through a game and only strike out 2 or 3 guys, but all 3 of those strikeouts were in key situations that limited the amount of damage the opponent could do, as opposed to a guy who strikes out 10, but also gives up 7 runs, which John Gray did the other night, which is why he's down in AAA. Situations matter. The idea, this is why statistical analysis in baseball is a little dangerous for most baseball fans who are passionate. They're into their sport. This is what happens to passionate baseball fans. Passionate baseball fans get into this idea of like, oh, I want to follow science. I want to follow my methodology needs to be like the methodology of everybody else who I respect in the sport. I've got to follow. Andy says that ace pitchers throw strikes. Ace pitchers do throw strikes, but they also throw strikes at the right time. And that's the problem for John Gray, is that he doesn't know how to do that. He doesn't understand the difference. Seems like a major issue for the Rocks is Bud Black. Is he? I don't know if managers really matter that much in baseball. And I know that that's an unpopular opinion because of what Joe Maddon's been able to do, but I think it's the same effect as like Greg Popovich. Popovich matters as a coach in the NBA. I don't think any other coach, like there's 2 coaches who matter in the NBA. Brad Stevens and Greg Popovich. Everybody else is just kind of like, well, I've seen Mike D'Antoni be good, but I've also seen him suck. So, I don't know if I can give him credit for being, this innovator in the game. I guess he was an innovator. I guess he was a pioneer. I don't know if he was good. He was just the first. Greg Maddux was an ace pitcher. Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander are ace pitchers. Yeah, they're elite level guys. James Shields was an ace, even though he wasn't elite. I wouldn't put him in that category, but he was a stopper. I mean, guys who know guys who understand how momentum helped them, guys who understand how situations matter. Statistical analysis in baseball has got us into this idea that you should measure things only in aggregate, because that's the only way to understand efficiency metrics is in aggregate. And so it's taken situational baseball out of it entirely. And they've tried to do that on some level by emphasizing splits as much as they have. But even then, they get lost in the weeds so often. And that's why people who keep telling you and keep preaching, oh, John Gray's 4th in the league in strikeouts. How can you send him down to AAA? Because he keeps losing. He keeps giving up run after run after run. And that's bad. You can't attack the strike zone and not be clever. And all of the pitchers in Major League Baseball who are considered quote-unquote aces are clever. All of them. All of them are. Guys who can stop, guys who can throw quality innings, guys who can go out there, give you 7 every night, and you know they're going to give you 7 pretty much every night. 90% of the time, they're going to give you 7 innings. You need that. Bartolo Colon used to be an ace. Yeah, he did. And there were moments where I thought he was still an ace, even late into his career. And he will always be an ace at having 2 families. I think he's tops in the league at secret family keeping. Although he did expose himself by one time representing himself in a court in a matter with his secret family. So that was a problem. But other than that, hunky-dory. The Rockies do have their issues. The Rockies do have their problems when it comes to getting pitchers to come here. The same kind of similar problems that the Nuggets have. There's no real there's no real sort of legacy around the team, and that really hurts them. But the Rockies, in larger part, I think, misevaluate where they should spend their dollars because they're too afraid of spending too much. And that's exactly what happened. They spent, this happens all the time, right? When you bargain bin shop, they spent 60% of what they could have spent on a guarantee for a gamble that hasn't paid off 2 seasons in a row. And that's what happens when you gamble and you lose twice in a row, and that gamble just cost you $175 million over 2 seasons or 2 gambles. The $70 million on Ian Desmond was a mistake, and then the $105 million on the bullpen this offseason was a mistake. When all they really had to do to get to the same place they are now is not do any of that and then just keep Jonathan Lucroy. And they could have saved themselves roughly $170 million. And those kind of simple things, the kind of obvious, you should have known better moves, those are the ones that just grind on you because you're like, well, you can't afford to sign this guy to a contract because you just did this thing. He's also an ace of being a tub of lard. That's true. Bartolo Colon is very fat. I was absorbed by his fat, and then I think the ball kind of stayed there for a little while, and then kind of slowly came out. And then by the time he walked back to the bullpen, it had finally fallen out, or back to the dugout. Look, there are all kinds of things you could point to with the Rockets to say that, they could have done this instead, they could have done that instead. I don't necessarily dislike the moves as gambles, but you just have to know what they are. You have to know that there's a percentage likelihood that will work, not a guarantee that will work. If you want a guarantee that will work, go sign a legitimate free agent starting pitcher who you know is going to cost you $150 million bare minimum. Go get that guy and build a rotation around that guy, because that guy is going to give you some consistency, some regularity. He's going to give you what you need, which you don't currently have. The ability to create confidence around your team that when you need to, when you're in a jam, you can get out. That confidence in baseball goes further than it does in almost any other sport, because pitchers are easily the most successful of any player at their position. How we measure success, right? The percentage likelihood that you are going to get an out is almost 80%. The likelihood that you're going to make a 3-pointer is like it's like 50% if you're really, really good. But if you're an average pitcher, it's almost 80% that you're going to get it out. So, there's a lot more going for pitchers in sports than there is for any other position. If you had to pick something that is always going to succeed, that's always going to be high level, it's just a guarantee that they're going to show up every single time they go out there and be great, it's pitching. Zach Greinke, yes, Zach Greinke is like that. Somebody who you could legitimately put out there as a number one starting day, opening day, and you know that they're going to be there, barring injury, in the postseason with the rest of your team, and they're going to be a primary reason why. Greinke, has he been a disappointment? I don't know if he's been a disappointment. I don't know if I'd say that. He was pretty good last year. Talking about just this season, we're not even to the All-Star break yet. So, let me know how the Diamondbacks are doing in September, and then we'll talk. But I've seen too much of Greinke to think that he's like over the hill, although he is getting to that point in his career. Didn't the Rockies already try with Mike Hampton? Yeah, get another one. Keep doing it. Keep getting pitcher after pitcher after pitcher. Get another one, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. And just keep doing that over and over and over again. It's really not that hard. Let's see here. As we kind of move on here, I wanted to talk about LeBron as well. I mentioned this a little bit yesterday, and I wanted to bring it back up again on the show today. LeBron James going to Los Angeles is wholly good for the league. It's wholly good for him. It's wholly good for his legacy. And anyone who thinks that this is going to somehow diminish his legacy is crazy. And I know that a lot of people are hoping for that. hoping that LeBron will tarnish his brand. That if you see there in the picture there, that's LeBron James in his giant poster that's been up in Cleveland since 2014. And it's huge. It's on the side of a building. Cleveland is basically they're preparing for a long, harsh, cold winter without LeBron James. They're going to have a bad baseball team, a bad basketball team, and a bad football team all at the same time. And that's not going to change. They're going to be bad for a while in all three major sports. Because now all of a sudden their core in Cleveland is Kevin Love and J.R. Smith. And that is not going to win you a title. So, look, I think, at the end of the day, LeBron James chose the Lakers because the Lakers are the place that is going to help him the most get what he actually wants, which is a better legacy, maybe the greatest of all time if he wins a title. He's just got to win one. And I'm not saying that historians are going to remember him as the greatest Laker or the greatest player of all time or whatever. But for the next 4 years, LeBron James is going to have 40 million mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging, bald-headed Lakers fans wearing number 8 Kobe jerseys telling you that LeBron James is the greatest player to ever walk the planet, because that's what fans do. And there's more Lakers fans than there are any other fan in the NBA. So he all of a sudden just garnered like half of the league in terms of attention. Half of the league's supporters, at least. Do Lakers fans make up half the league's population? They might. I think they might. Because I think there's probably like 40 million Lakers fans nationwide. There's more Lakers fans than there are any other fan, by far. And now all of those fans are allies of LeBron James. And they weren't previously. They were allies of Kobe. They were allies of the Lakers. They didn't care for LeBron James. They did not give a rip. They were all in on Lonzo Ball. I mean, they don't care. All they care is whether or not you wear a Lakers jersey, and he appreciably got better in their eyes. He got more accomplished in their eyes, and now all of a sudden they're going to be tops in the West again because LeBron James has decided that he wanted to be a part of that. Pretty heady move. Pretty heady. Forced to trade, get that Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance Jr. contract off the books. Get something else better in there. Yeah, me. Yeah, that's right. LeBron James going to LA. Got those bad contracts off the books. Now he's coming in. All of a sudden, second best team in the West. Lickety split, just like that. So like this idea that he's now going to lose in the Western Conference Finals instead of the Finals being a deterrent for him to go to LA. He's thinking big picture, and he also understands that the idea that the Warriors are going to be good forever until the end of his career at least is erroneous. That's not true. It doesn't follow. So I don't see why anybody would think that. Why would you think that? Doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Oh, did LeBron do something? Yeah, went to LA. Las Vegas odds makers bumped up the Lakers to 7-2 odds for winning championship. Haven't figured out why yet. They took a giant LeBron poster down. They took that giant LeBron poster down yesterday. Why was I seeing all the live feeds today? I thought they were taking it down today. I think that was this morning, Ari. I saw live feeds on my Facebook of them taking it down today. Did I miss that? Was that wrong? I think they did it this morning. It was breaking news. It was covered as breaking news in Cleveland, which is just remarkable. We need more of that. We need more of that kind of breaking news in sports. For Cleveland, it is kind of breaking news. It's like when all those car dealerships or all those car manufacturing plants left Michigan, and people were like, "It's going to destroy the economy. You can't leave." And it did, and they did leave, and it did. The same thing with LeBron. LeBron is like the auto industry to Detroit. Cleveland is now going to be a desolate wasteland of unhappiness and Browns jerseys. That's all it's going to be. It's just going to be racist mascots, the Browns, and depression. It's going to be so gloomy. just a large dark cloud that's just going to reside over Cleveland for the next 4 years or so, which is not unnormal. It's not uncommon for Cleveland to have ominous dark clouds just surrounding it at all times as the Cuyahoga Rivers just just kind of crackles on fire. You just have to wait for that thing to go out. And then you realize that LeBron's left for Los Angeles because it's nicer there. They have a better team there. The people are more attractive. And also, he's not going to cripple their economy if he leaves. That's all of that's better for LeBron in Los Angeles. How could you imagine if you were responsible for that? You had that hanging over your head. You're just a basketball player. You're really, really good. But by virtue of being really good at basketball, a game, it is now your obligation to make sure that the economy of an entire major U.S. city stays afloat. And if you do what you want, it destroys all of the people's will to live and work effectively in that city. That's just really, that's amazing. That kind of power. That's why players get to decide their own fates, because they is going to destroy people's will to be sports fans in that city. There's nothing to hang on to. What's the best thing about Cleveland sports right now? Name it. The fact that they were in they lost in the World Series and they lost in the NBA Finals, and the Browns don't even come close to either of those competitions. It's like having the combination of Buffalo during the early 90s and then also Kansas City for always together in one city that's covered by industrial smog all the time. That's Cleveland. So if you're watching from Cleveland, I'm sorry. Sorry LeBron did this. Sorry LeBron did this to all of you. All right, wanted to give a shout-out one more time to Brent Malia. Brent Malia Real Estate is with Coldwell Banker. My real estate agent, my wife and I were looking for a house, trying to get out of our cramped apartment in downtown Denver. So we came out to Parker, which is much more spacious. It's exactly what my wife wanted, and we owe all of that to Brent. Brent knew the place to look. He knew where the space was. He knew what kind of house we wanted and where to find it. He knew the location. He knows the area so well because he's been here for a long time. He's got a tremendous amount of experience and a tremendous amount of connections. Connections, partnerships, relationships. That's what he's in. He's in the relationship building business. My relationship with Brent did not end after we got a house. We have continued to work with him, not just advertising for him, but also using some of the many professionals that he has at his disposal to help home buyers who are just now getting into a new house, especially one that's a little bit older, like the one my wife and I are living in, to make sure that all of your issues that come up with older houses are solved, and they're solved fast. So give Brent a call, 720-560-5855. Also contact him at tjsagent.com. And then, of course, also check out PlatteRiverMortgage.com. Sean Sedita helped my wife and I out with our mortgage. Found some glitches in our credit report, got us in at the best possible rate, did so well within the time parameters that we needed to get it in by, and helped us get in at the best possible rate in a very competitive Denver market. So make sure you check them out as well. If you're looking for a home, check out BrentMalia.com or TJ'sAgent.com. Also, if you're looking for a mortgage, go to PlatteRiverMortgage.com and ask for Sean Sedita. He will hook you up. That's going to do it for us here on Noon O'Clock. We'll be back on Thursday giving away some Rockies tickets. So if you want to win some Rockies tickets, make sure you share this post. The person who shares this post the most will get those Rockies tickets for free. All you got to do is just go down to Oscar Blues and pick them up. That's going to do it for us. My name is TJ Carpenter. Make sure to check out all of our programming here on Phantom. You can follow me on Twitter at TJ Carpenter Show. Follow Phantom at Watch Phantom. And, of course, always like our page on Facebook and share that with as many friends as possible. That's going to do it for us live from Denver. I'm TJ Carpenter. Later, y'all.